webcasting from North Central Wisconsin. I'm Jonathan Switzer, and this is the Roboblog Chronicles for the week ending July 12th, 2008. Because I'm still a little disoriented from the move, this week's show will be about a topic I could probably ramble on at length about in my sleep. The villainous, megalomaniacal, sociopathic, true villain of the Sentinels era of Robotech. The one, the only, Thomas Riley Edwards. Edwards is probably the most problematic and ill-conceived character in the entire Robotech universe. He began his life as basically the villain BD from Megazone 2-3 Part 1, only 10 years down the road, after his ignoble defeat at the hand of a biker punk and a robot. Once Megazone 2-3's place in the Robotech timeline, the rewritten version, mind you, known as Robotech the Movie Untold Story, once its place in the timeline got shuffled to the Southern Cross era, at which point Edwards was supposed to be halfway across the universe, he got reconceived as Roy Foker's rival in during Global Civil War, as seen in the Genesis graphic novel from Comico, the comic company. And then after that, he was supposed to show up in the Sentinels animation. Only the Sentinels animation, as we all know, was not completed. This right here is a animation cell from what we actually got. Now, he has since reappeared in From the Stars, the miniseries that relaunched Robotech Comics at DC Wildstorm. And unfortunately there he becomes sort of a guiding figure, to be sure, a villainous guiding figure, a secretly villainous guiding figure for Roy Foker through Project Valkyrie, the Veritech project. But, that takes away his whole shtick with Foker, which was supposed to sort of get transferred on to Rick Hunter, because Rick Hunter was Foker's protege. And so that was supposed to sort of help pave the way for his hatred of Hunter in the Expeditionary Force era. But no, now that's gone too. So what we're left with is what is revealed in Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles, which is a different take on what actually occurred back in Rubicon, the final Robotech novel, or final Sentinels novel by Jack McKinney. In that novel, as you may recall, it was revealed that T.R. Edwards' scars come from being at Alaska Base when Rick rescued Lisa in episode 27, Force of Arms. And Edwards was pretty darn pissed that he did not get rescued. He was still alive, but he's all messed up and bleeding all over the place, and so in Prelude it becomes he's sitting there with his face ripped away, and he's got his red-haired girlfriend dying in his arms at Alaska Base as the Guardian mode VF-1S Skull One zooms by, and Edwards is enraged, and ultimately at the very thought of Rick Hunter he just but I mean, that is weak stuff, man. That is just pathetic. That isn't very good. That's just not good. That's kind of bad. That's kind of dumb. I mean, the girlfriend thing I get, but holding Rick responsible due to his sort of tunnel vision trying to rescue Lisa, that's bad villain motivation. It's just bad villain motivation. And the problem becomes the fact that the folks who wrote that material are Jason and John Waltrip, guys who are not writers. Guys who spent a whole lot of time adapting the Sentinels stories into comics. You know, and they didn't even adapt writing-wise all of that material. You know, they had writers helping them for, you know, the first, you know, several years of that material. Tom Mason and Chris Ulm, the guys who were the editors at Eternity Comics. So, and those guys were coming up with new material all on their own, here and there and everywhere. When the Waltrips added new material, it was basically just a new design here, a new design there. And mind you, they did do one of the better things in the Sentinel story. You know, once they actually give the Sentinels a fold-capable ship, they you know, actually have Rick have to sit there and think, why don't we go back? Why don't we? Oh, we have to see this through. And you know, that was actually pretty well done. But ultimately, this work with Edwards, this business with Edwards, you know, trying to hold it to the storyline in Rubicon, it just doesn't work anymore, I don't think. It never really worked to begin with. It was always kind of weak sauce. And mind you, Rick's explanation, Rick's sort of excuse that he throws in Edward's face in issue 4 of Prelude. Oh, fog of war. That is really weak stuff. That is just pathetic, Rick. You're not a good hero. No, you're a very bad hero. You know, coming up with a lame excuse like that. Anyway, Edwards, while improved in Prelude to a very large extent, you know, not being the ranting, you know, grinning skull, you know, villain for villain's sake guy, you know, just being sort of a misunderstood figure, an Anatole Leonard. A proper TV series Anatole Leonard, mind you, not a religious zealot, weird sex guy Anatole Leonard, as seen in Robotech Book 19, The Zentradi Rebellion. The one more like the one you see in the Robotech Masters TV series. The mistrustful of aliens, Earth first, but you know, just, you know, for the sake of Earth, to rescue the Earth, to save the Earth, to protect the Earth. Having him reconceived that way works. Having everything that Edwards does up to the point that we are shown what happened at Alaska Base. Everything in Prelude with Edwards, I think, worked. Is only when you get to his motivation, is only when you get to why he has this loathing of Rick Hunter. Now, the shot they had there in Prelude, where, you know, Vince is trying to reason with Edwards, and ultimately says, you know, ultimately accidentally says Hunter's name. You know, I always loved that shot. I always thought that is a beautiful shot right there. That shot with the, you know, the frame with the metal eyes, sort of, and then, you know, in the fog in the background, you know, the side of the VF-1S. It's a lovely shot. It's a shame the motivation behind that shot is not something that really clicks, is not something that really works. With Prelude so hard to come by at this point, and with so little of this material detailed either in the art of Robotech the Shadow Chronicles or the recent RPG book, I think it's time. I think really the best thing to do right now would be to go back to the drawing board, try to redraft some of that stuff, especially maybe if they could actually redraft some of that stuff and fix it for, say, a trade paperback of Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think that would be awesome. And on that note, this is Captain JLS, signing off.